All right. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for joining another episode of Speak On It. So today I have a friend here. It's Danny Lou. We're going to touch upon a very important topic, which is depression and anxiety. Something that a lot of us go through, and a lot of us hide. We don't know where to turn, how to handle things. So we're going to touch up on that subject. A lot of times people feel like they're alone with the depression and the anxiety. Like I said, don't know to turn. But there are places to turn. Before I get deep into it, there's a crisis hotline, which is you can text or call 988. Simple as that, 988. Don't be afraid to use that number. Don't be afraid to seek a therapist. And I know it's hard to talk to people sometimes and let somebody know that, hey, I'm not okay. If you have a very, very close friend that you can reach out to somebody. But yeah, so stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy this episode, and I hope it does good for somebody or multiple people out there. So let's learn to be able to reach out, and let's also learn to listen to people when they come to us with their problems, and to really take the time to listen. I think that's one of the hardest things that people go through. Why people don't really reach out, because they feel like people are not really listening. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this episode. It's a very serious episode. If you have any questions or you want to make any comments, please feel free to comment down below, and I will get back with you. So, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. All right. So, thank you for joining another episode of Speak On It. Today we're with Miss Danny, and I'll let her introduce herself in a second. We're going to touch upon an important subject, depression and anxiety. Where I said, some people are scared to kind of reach out and everything, thinking that they're alone, but we're really not. We all go through something. So we're going to touch upon that subject today. So this is Miss Danny, and I will let her introduce herself, and then we'll go on from there.
Well, I'm Danny Lou. I model, I act, do a little singing. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland, but I currently reside in North Carolina.
Okay. You're also a model?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right, very talented model. We shot before and everything, and then wonderful shoot, I think.
It was a good shoot.
Okay.
One of my favorites, I'll say that much.
I feel good. I feel good.
It's still on my Instagram, so that should tell you something.
So I know to check every now and then.
Once I take it out, it's like,
I'm like, damn, no, man. At least I was there for a while. No, it's good. It's good to be able to conversate with people and laugh and everything from time to time and stuff. Just have good vibes. But that's not the case all the time.
Right.
Sometimes we be going through. Sometimes we say hello to people, ask how they're doing, and we say we okay. We have a good smile going on. Everybody thinks we're happy and everything's all good. But everything comes out behind closed doors. When nobody else is around, and you in your own space, quiet, and you're just going through.
Yeah.
And everybody doesn't know that and stuff. So, I guess my question to you is, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
You're fine.
If you was to ask me this last year, it would probably be a different story.
Oh, okay. So what kind of, do you care to share a little bit of what went on last year, how things were going last year?
I will say depression and anxiety is a real thing.
Yeah.
You don't really know what it feels like or what it actually is until you actually have gone through something that puts you in that position to feel that way. So having a sad day or a bad day, that's one thing, but actually feeling that emptiness is completely different. And when it's been prolonged, you kind of know that something is wrong. But some people, they try to have this mentality of being the strong person, or they've always embodied being very strong. And when that happens, you try to push everything under the rug until one day you can't do that no more.
The pressure, it'll make you pop sooner or later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you find it difficult to reach out and tell somebody like, hey, I'm just not doing good, or is it easy for you to reach out, or do you have that one person or people that you know that you can go and talk to?
I think it depends on a couple of factors. I would say for myself, I've always been the type of person that's been the strong one for the most part.
Okay.
So being that most people would assume that I got it or I can just figure it out, you kind of pretty much embody that. And you don't really ask because it kind of touches like a weak spot in yourself. So you kind of just go through it, try to figure out how to cope. And sometimes when you cope, you end up choosing some really bad habits at that point. So long story short, I would say no, I don't typically reach out, because at the same time, I don't want to feel like a burden on somebody else. And I think if people do pay attention, like if you have like close friends or something like that, if they actually paid attention, the signs are actually there. The signs are very clear, and a lot of people don't really talk about the signs. It's just recently that I've actually become comfortable with expressing like I'm not okay. And it took a long time for me to get to that point, only because, you know, I've had many suicidal thoughts, and that within itself is unlike me. And when I've gotten to that point, that's when I realized, like, I know I physically don't want to do anything or even go that route, but something's not right within me. Yeah. So I went and got help. But it's a matter of, like, there's some people who know that they need help and they actually go and get it. And then there's some people who really just don't even know where to go to get it.
Well, yeah, I understand that. And I know, back up a minute, something you said about feeling like a burden. That's crazy you say that, because I've people have asked me sometimes, you know, why didn't you come and say something to me, whatever or whatnot. And I felt, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't say anything. Even if they came to me, it's like they happy, they cheery, they having good news. So I don't want to dampen that, you know, that joyful moment. Or, you know, I just don't, or, you know, just don't want nobody to feel pity or anything like that, whatever and stuff. So, you know, but yeah, and the suicidal thoughts and stuff. Yeah, some have that and some don't. I've been there myself a couple times. So, you know, is that when you got to that point? You said that's when you said that, you know, okay, I need to get help.
I got to that point when I realized that I looked in the mirror one day and I wasn't, like, I can see the drainage in my eyes. I can see, being that I model, like, you can really tell over the years when you look back at your pictures, you have, like, I had like a little spark in my eye, or I had like this glow. And then it's like, as I've went into the depression phase of my lowest of the lows, like, I didn't really see that spark. Like, I didn't see, like, who I used to be. And I can feel it when, you know, when I'm at work, I'm just not, I'm not social. I'm not outgoing. I kind of want to be isolated. I don't want to deal with anything. I don't want to deal with anybody. And then you get to a point where small little simple things feels like chores. Getting out of bed. You know how many times I done pressed my snooze button and I would wait till literally 10 minutes. That's all I would have to get ready for work, and now I'm rushing. And I got to a point where I enjoy putting on makeup, and I love doing like you know, looking pretty, or when you feel good, you look good and all that type of stuff. And I didn't even want to do that anymore. I didn't really care like what my hair looked like. I didn't care if my clothes weren't presentable. Like I clocked out completely. Yeah, it was more so I had just enough strength to go to work and go home, and that was it.
That's it. Did anybody during that time, did anybody say, hey, Danny, you okay? You know, did anybody really notice the change in you, or was it just?
It's so funny because depression isn't always sad. Depression can be anger too. And, you know, the first thing that I will always hear is like, you always look like you're mad, or you always look like you're upset. And it's like, thanks. Thanks for pointing that out. How about, hey, are you okay? How are you doing? I noticed that you don't seem like yourself. And then that causes me to pretty much perform, to not make it seem like they have to address like, well, I'm always looking like an angry person. Now I gotta go into work pretending to be okay, because the only thing they're noticing is my facial expressions, but they're not really asking me the underlying issue as far as what's really going on. And not saying that workplaces or work environments have to be that way, but being that I am a manager in one of my workplaces, I attend to my associates as needed when I know something is not right. When I feel like they're happy-go-lucky one day, and then, you know, the next week they're real shut down, they're real quiet, very isolated. And I'm usually the type of person like, hey, what's going on? And they'll tell me like, I'm just not feeling that. I said, well, you want to talk, you know, you know where I'm at. I'm all ears. In most cases, when you have somebody like that in a workplace, people respect you a little bit more. They show up for you a little bit more, especially when when you have that manager and associate work relationship. So they feel as though they can come to you for anything. And I kind of demonstrate what I would want from a manager if I was in that position. So even though I was still going through it and still attending to my associates, it was more so, it made me feel good knowing that I can show up for somebody else, even though I wasn't really getting the same in return. But it was a temporary coping strategy I used, because it did make me feel good that I was able to be there for somebody.
Yes. Yeah, and everything, and that's the thing and stuff. Even when you're going through, sometimes, like you said, being there for somebody kind of gives you a good feeling, kind of hope yourself and everything. So, do you think some people don't approach you, like you said, nobody went to you and asked you like, how you doing, is everything okay? Do you think that sometimes people see the difference, but they choose not to address it, maybe because they're scared, they don't know how to respond, or sometimes maybe they just don't care, or they just want to go about their day, do their thing? Do you think there's a reason why people don't approach you if they see something different in you?
I think it could be a fine line between people not knowing how to address it and some people not really caring because it's not them. You have a lot of people that view depression as not real. And then you have some people that know it is real because they've been there and went through it. And it's hard for anybody it's hard for a person who doesn't believe in it to really understand it or to approach it if they already feel like it doesn't even exist. And if it's just like a label or just a sad day or just a phase. So I feel like there could be two ways of looking at it, but I think I think going through it and tying in your personal life choices and the things that you go through can also tie into how you approach certain situations with other people. So if I'm a person that went through depression and suicidal thoughts and I'm noticing like somebody's losing weight all of a sudden, or somebody, and that's actually has happened where I noticed somebody was getting extremely thin. And I was like, are you okay? What's going on? Because that was a symptom of mine where I was going through depression. I weighed almost 85 pounds. And I think it's more so like when you went through a life experience, you can kind of see the signs with somebody else, and you'll pretty much know how to navigate that with a clear, steady mind versus somebody who probably don't have that experience and just doesn't know. Not faulting them for not knowing. I mean, they're blessed to not even have to go through that.
It's good not to go.
But I also think there's a time and place to have empathy for others. Having personable relationships when it comes down to just understanding other people in general. So even though you may not know, just maybe reach out or have the curiosity to try to understand. It doesn't help. It doesn't take away from you as a person to even get that knowledge from somebody who's gone through certain things.
And they'll respect you more if they know you've been through it. They'll be like, okay, well, she understands where I'm coming from, like you said, versus somebody that hasn't been through it. You know, some people that haven't been through it, they'll hit you with the, well, I'm gonna pray for you. It's okay. Keep your head up. And sometimes that's not what you want to hear.
It's not enough.
No, it's not. And stuff. So
Then I think like, are you really praying for me, or are you just saying that?
That's
like,
the traditional thing to say.
You know.
Yeah, so
if you're gonna pray for me, just do it. Don't tell me you're doing it. Like, just do it, okay?
Just go ahead and do it.
Because I need it for sure.
Yeah. Lord will pass it on. He'll pass it on to me. He'll pass it on to me. It's the how do you, when you start knowing that you know your symptoms and everything now, and you feel like if you feel like you kind of falling back in or something, what are some things that you do, say like self-care or whatever, that you do to say, okay, boom, I feel like this, let me start doing this, doing my makeup again, this and that, whatever. What are some type self-care things that you?
So I will say before I get on to the self-care thing, when I was in the midst of my depression where I was having the suicidal thoughts, I actually was in a program for people that was dealing with things mentally that was challenging. It was about, I want to say it was about 3 months. You're in a classroom setting and you're literally with other people who are just like you. You had lawyers, you had people that are therapists that are in there, and basically you go through the phases of the underlying issues of where things could really come from. So like childhood, abandonment issues, codependency issues, just a lot of stuff that could come from your childhood, a lot of traumatic experiences that can happen throughout your entire life that can cause you to feel or act the way you are in your adult years. And there's a lot of stuff that I did learn there that that actually kind of opened me up to understand what it is that I'm actually dealing with. So a lot of things for me was rooted from my childhood. And not saying that I had a bad childhood, that's not the case, but not realizing what things in my childhood that played a part in how I respond and react to things now today, not realizing that it was actually damaging as a child versus now that I'm old enough to understand it. It's like, okay, now it's my responsibility to shift my mind a little bit. Like, they even told us, like, whatever happened in your childhood, it is technically your parents' fault. But as you get older, it's your responsibility now to understand what it is that you've been dealing with when you were younger to change. Yeah. So you can have healthier relationships, you can navigate life through without having the real bad depression. Not saying that you're not going to have a bad day, but but you won't go down rock bottom, basically. So for me, now self-care looks like I'm more so doing more preventative. So I have a therapist and a psychologist. I also am on an antidepressant, and it's for anxiety as well. And those are things that I could say has helped with like preventatives, having like an unbiased opinion, talking to somebody. And I will say, being a part of the Black community, we kind of overlook getting therapy and feeling like it's not needed, or we're not going to be able to find somebody that's going to understand us and really relate to us. And yeah, you may have to go through a couple people in order to find that person, but it's definitely something that I would say has been like a big change overall in my life, is having that person that I can really talk to. And for them to really listen and engage and tell me, you know what I think you need, or you know what I think this might be. They'll pinpoint it, and then you think about it, you're like, oh, I never even thought about it like that. So, and then now I kind of, I take myself out sometimes. I get my nails done, even though it still feels like I'm pushing myself to do something that I don't want to do. I still try to go for it anyway and stop making excuses as to why I don't want to go get my nails done or do my makeup or just dress up just because, or find any excuse to really not go anywhere. Like, I'm like, those clouds outside look a little, I think I'm gonna stay in the house. It might rain the whole time. It ain't gonna rain. No. I just found an excuse because I don't want to do anything. So self-care looks different for everybody. You can do nature walks. You can go to the gym, which I started going back to the gym recently. And that also can help with anxiety. Finding some new hobbies, some new things that you never been able to do that you want to try. Like, there's a lot of things, and it's always going to be different for every person. So
yeah.
Okay, so where you've been up until now, how are you feeling?
I have my good days. Then I also have my bad days, but it's not as consistent as it used to be. So at least, like, I can say I can get out of bed now. I can, I'm excited to make a cup of coffee in the morning. Like, the little small things that we usually don't get excited for, those be the things that I'm like, okay, I get to do this today, or, and then I have to also look at, like, sometimes it's like the simplest things that really ground you a little bit. So, like, having a roof over your head, being able to work, being able to have a job and to actually pay your bills on time, and like, just small stuff. Being able to even open your eyes, like, in the morning, like the little stuff that we truly do take for granted in most cases. I kind of look at that versus looking at, like, oh man, I'm down and out and I don't have this, I don't have that. It's kind of like, well, even though I don't have these things, but I do have this and I do have that. And it's like giving your life a little bit of gratitude, because I could be way worse right now. I could have attempted
Yeah.
to take my life when I thought about it. I could have, went that route of really bad habits and, trying to take myself out sooner. I could have gone those things, but I didn't. And I'm happy to say that I didn't. So.
My next question is for you, your friends. Did they recognize you going through things, you going through anxiety, you going through depression? And if they did recognize, what did they come and tell you?
I don't have many friends, so I'll start there. But some people do recognize, even like I had a homegirl, I was talking to her about stuff and how I was feeling, and she would try to uplift me a little bit, and she would invite me out to go like skating to kind of get my mind off of things and everything like that. But because I was so far in, it wasn't enough for me. It was just like, I enjoyed the moment, but once I left the event and went back home, I was down all over again. So it was a temporary fix for the time being, but it really didn't do much for me overall. And I shout out to her, but I do appreciate her. I had another person, I was actually talking to him probably a couple weeks ago, and he even mentioned like how I would post consistently on Instagram, and just one day I just stopped. And there was nothing. And he kind of figured something was going on, but he didn't know what it was. And we weren't really like close. Like, he's a person that has his own brand and everything like that, so we would talk business. So he didn't want to intertwine personal and business, and it just so happened that I needed somebody to talk to. And I remember he said, well, if you need somebody to talk to, just let me know. And most people say that, and then when you talk to them, it's kind of like they ain't really trying to hear what you got to say. Like, so you don't really reach out to them. But in this case, I reached out, I talked to him, and I was like, okay. You actually are true to your word. All right. And the conversation was really good. It helped me understand different perspectives on things and how to view things. So that was the one person that I did reach out to. But I mean, some people will notice, and like I said, some people, they don't, or they do and they just don't say anything. Because I don't really, like I said, I got to a point where I just didn't feel like putting that on other people, because I know other people got stuff going on too. And sometimes people make it clear on like social media that they got this, that, and the third going on. And it's like, I don't want to, I'm not going to reach out. I'm just going, congratulations, or whatever it is that person got going on. I kind of want to leave it at that. I don't really want to, put that on to them. So it's kind of hard.
Do you think putting issues like that, when you're having problems and everything, how do you feel about putting that on social media? Do you think that is more of a help, or do you think that would cause more issues?
Depends on your intent behind it.
Okay.
So like for me, because so when I go through stuff, I'm not putting while I'm in it on social media. I feel as though like when people go through things in the moment, they're putting it out there, and I just think to myself like, okay, maybe you should kind of back away from social media and heal a little bit, and then whatever you take from your experience, you can share it. So after, like, nobody knew I was going through the program. Nobody knew I had suicidal thoughts. I wasn't on Facebook sharing none of this stuff. I was just going through it. And once the program ended, I started to feel like myself a little bit. I decided, hey, I want to share this experience. And it hit home for a lot of people. And it wasn't for me to like, my intent behind it is for people to understand, like, people go through this stuff. And the signs and everything is actually there. It's up to you on, like, if you're paying attention. Some people can't ask for help, or they don't want to ask for help because they feel like they're going to be that burden, or they always got something going on and they want a pity party or something like that. So, like, I just put my experience of everything, the suicidal thoughts, the program that I was in, like, I put that all on the table. Very transparent, and I wanted people to see me, because the person that y'all assume is so strong and will-minded, also on the other side of that has my weak points too. And like I said, a lot of people, they assume like I got it figured out, or I'm gonna, and in most cases I do, but I didn't that time.
So, do you mind if I get real personal as far as the point, like, what put you in that state of depression? Is there something happened in your life, or just, of course, something happened in your life, but, you know, is there something specific, like, okay, this happened?
I'm glad you asked that. So, something that I learned in the program, one of the therapists had made a pie chart.
Okay.
And he asked me, he was like, what are the things that are a priority to you? I said, oh, love, friends, work. I was just listing certain things. And then he asked me to put a percentage out of 100%, break them down into percentages. What's the top rated? Like, what would you put a percent on each one?
Cup theory.
So, like, for instance, love was like 75% of my pie chart. Finance was probably like 2%. Friendships was 10%, something along those lines. And he said that the more your life is focused on one specific thing, can also be that one specific thing that can put you into depression. So being that I've been so focused on love and trying to navigate that, and, you know, I was highlighting that, and that was like the one thing that I put up here. And when it's not there, you go downhill. And he was like, you kind of want to have a balance between everything that you're prioritizing. So that way, if this gets taken away, you'll still have the rest of your pie chart that you can focus on. It's almost like celebrities. NBA players, I'll give you that.
Okay.
They make their whole life around playing ball. And let's just say that's 100% of who they are, their personality, what they do, how they get funded, endorsements, everything like that. The moment that they tear ACL or they end up not being able to play no more, typically what happens?
Gone.
They go into this deep depression because that's all they knew. They didn't have anything else that they can focus on, because basketball was 100% their priority. So I just learned, like, to have a balance. Like, if I don't find love now, that's okay, because I still have all these other things that I can navigate myself into. Or if I'm not financially stable, well, I still have all these other things that is preparing me to be there. So it's more so like having balance, but also knowing who you are as a person, your core identity, not the things that make you who you are, just the real raw version of who you are. So if you know your identity, you know, like, if you was to strip away everything, like money, cars, just the things that's around you, and you really sit with yourself and ask the question, who are you? You should be able to tell yourself who you really are without adding the extra stuff.
That's true. I like that. I like that theory. And I was thinking about my therapist when you said pie chart. It's the same thing. He gave you some cup theory is pretty much the same thing. You know, categorize what you focus on, what's important to you, and the percentage of that. That's why I'm smiling about that. So, and speaking of therapists and everything, therapist is a very great person to have. And you make sure the therapist that you choose is the right one for you. You do your research on them and everything, whatever. I know you touched on earlier, you know, especially our people and everything. We think just having a therapist is like a weakness or something. That means just you're just a weak person or whatever. So I mean, what would you tell a person? How would you convince a person? Do you think that therapist is just such a great idea, especially amongst the Black community?
I would say just do it. I mean, it's you won't know really like how much it will help you until you actually do it. And like I said, it's a matter of making sure you find the right one. I mean, that plays a part, obviously, but you have to do your research too. Don't just go into getting therapy blindsided and thinking that whoever you decide to go with is going to be the right fit. However, I will say the person that I'm with, I was blessed enough to have this person day one. She was perfect for me. And being that her calendar was like set all the way out in advance, once I got out of the program, they tried to pair me up with somebody else. And not saying that the lady wasn't good, but I was like, I want my other therapist. I will wait. Put me on a waiting list until she is available. I will wait because she understands. And honestly, I can say I'm sure for certain we have two different backgrounds. Only because she's white, I'm Black. I can tell you that. We probably grew up very different. However, even though that is there, she still shows me that she understands, and she's able to try to help me navigate certain things. So it ain't always just finding like the one who can actually relate to you. It's also trying to find like the person who can also understand you, because the person who can relate to you may not understand you. So it's really, it's a gamble. And I would say, like, even though you may get frustrated with trying to figure out the right therapist, don't give up on that, because there's plenty, and I mean there's plenty of people out there that's, you'd be surprised. Like, they have all kinds of different backgrounds, things that, they've dealt with that you probably wouldn't even know or wouldn't even realize that they've dealt with. Therapy, I think in order to be a therapist, it's not even just about understanding the terms and the book knowledge and stuff like that. It's also being able to say, well, I've been through this too. So, I mean, it's just, for the Black community, I mean, we've been so stuck in our ways of doing things, and we always talk about wanting to do better as a community. I think that could be a start.
Be a good start. Yeah.
Because I mean, most of us probably didn't come from two-parent homes. Most of us probably came from poverty. Most of us experienced different traumas in our childhoods that, we seeked was normal, but it actually wasn't. And those are some things that, as an adult, you don't want to just shove under the rug. You kind of want to let that stuff out, because you'd be surprised at how much those traumas can actually shape and mold you into the adult that you are. And you may not even notice it until you have maybe a good friend that actually points it out to you, say, hey, I noticed that you're doing X, Y, Z. What's up with that? And that's a true friend. I would tell anybody that I feel like could use an unbiased opinion on certain things, I would tell them to seek therapy. Told my mom. So, I mean, and she's dealt with some things in her past that I feel as though she should probably take care of herself. And I think it's a nice thing to have when you can't find the words, you don't know why certain things is triggering you, or you just want to understand yourself for once. So a lot of those traumas do end up oozing into who you are as an adult.
I used to be one of the ones that thought, I ain't doing no therapy, man. You know, it's growing up and everything. Because, I mean, I just never thought about it, and just, I don't need it. I'll be all right. I'll figure it out. So that used to be one of my things, that I would always figure it out, until I really, really went through what I went through with my depression and stuff when I got my separation. And I took joy being around my kids and in the house and everything. Then when I got my separation, I moved here. It's like I hated coming here because it was so quiet. I didn't hear like you said, those small things anymore. The kids saying, "Hey, Daddy, come here," or just running through the house and whatever. You know, it's complete silence and stuff. It's like you feel like you're at your low. But so it took me a while and everything. So I really just recently started getting to finding me a therapist, going to therapy now. I've been to 2 sessions. I'll have my 3rd one next month. But at the same time, I would say, as far as being at your lowest point, I've always had this saying, there's always something positive in a negative situation. You just got to find it. And in my opinion, being at your lowest point will also show you how strong you really are. If you can make it, pull yourself out, pray, go to therapists and everything, and see who you are, and climb up out of that hole, I think that will keep you from falling so deep, hopefully, for your life. Because, like I said, it shows you that you can do it. It shows you that things will be all right. And yes, I'm this strong. And now that strength that you have will go forth and help other people. I really do believe that. So, depression, anxiety is something that we all go through at some point. Like you said, there's some that haven't been through it, but a lot of people go through it. But there are so many resources out there. There are us that's been through situations. There's counselors, therapists, psychologists. Me, I choose therapy because I don't like taking medications. Stuff. Meditation, self-care, yoga. Yes, there's so many different ways and stuff that we can take care, help each other, and deal with our depressions and everything. But the thing is, just have somebody to reach out, let somebody know what's going on.
Yeah.
I've known coworkers that's committed suicide. I've been there. You say you have those thoughts. So let's just reach out when we feel in some type of way to the right people, and when people reach out to us, let's just be their ear. Sometimes we don't need to say anything. They just want somebody to hear.
Yeah.
But I do thank you for coming through to talk about this subject and everything. And hopefully I'm not cutting you off too soon. If you have anything else to say, please, we can always continue.
Yes.
But, well, okay.
Yes. So I hear you talk about your program a lot. When you did go to the program and you listened to everybody, what they were going through, what were you thinking? Were you thinking like, okay, well, and even though you all went through something, did you say, okay, well, what he went through was worse than what I went through? So did you look at that, or either take that situation and try to make yours better, or how did you cope?
Well, when I first got there, the first thing that came to my mind was like, they put me in a loony bin. Like, I'm gonna be a crazy person. At least that's what I was thinking initially, because I've never done anything like that. That was outside of my comfort zone. But when I was in there and I was listening to a lot of other people's stories, and it's a lot of people that's in there that's going through divorces, and that had situations with friends and stuff like that, that put them in like a traumatic experience and stuff like that. And there are some people in there that has it way worse than I do. Like there was a couple people who was there the whole entire time and literally said nothing. And they even made sure to tell us that it's all about what you make it in the program. So if you're not being pretty much vulnerable to expressing or to being open about certain things, you're not going to get anything out of it. So there were some people that had it worse than I did. There were some people that had it better than I did. And there's different tiers to the program. So some people stay there a couple weeks, some people stay there a couple months, some people stay there a couple days. It's just a matter of how severe it actually is. But even though I hear the stories and everything that other people have gone through, I still kind of looked at all of us like we're all here because we want help. And we are trying to find that place of being ourselves again. So it was almost like, being that I was there with other like-minded individuals, I felt okay with having my bad days. I felt okay with crying in front of other people when we would touch up on certain subjects. And I don't do that. You know, I felt okay with sharing certain things that I wouldn't share with anybody else. And you know, and then we will all pretty much validate each other, because the one thing is, like, people will go through stuff and they never get validated for having the experience that they have. Some people kind of like, oh, well, you just get through it. And it's kind of like, that's not what I wanted to hear, you know? So when I look back at like all of the stuff that has transpired over the last couple of years, I look at it as a way of saying, God was breaking me down from me being so comfortable in where I was and pretty much reshaping me into the person that I'm supposed to be. And yeah, I had to go through some stuff in order to see that, but I'm happy that I was able to go through that, because now it's like I know what I'm willing to tolerate, what I'm willing to handle, what I'm able to say, this isn't for me. I'm comfortable in my own space or in my own skin, so I know what it feels like to just be by myself in my core essence of who I am as a person, and it doesn't bother me. I just think, I look at it, at first I did look at it in a negative aspect, like, why is this going, like I've never been like this, why is this happening to me? And then, you know, looking back at it, I'm like, okay, I look at it as a lesson. Like, this happened to me because I was too comfortable in doing the same stuff that was keeping me where I was at. And it got to a point where I was at is no longer who I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be going to my next level, elevation of who I'm supposed to be. So.
Okay. The programs you're talking about, how do people find these programs? I mean, recommended to you, or do you mind giving the name of the program, or how people can find these programs to get help, or can they just walk in and say, hey, I need some help, I want to join the program? Or
So, I mean, you can always look up, I mean, if you're able to even know that that's even available. Some people just don't know it's available. And it's called PHP, Partial Hospitalization Program. So you spend literally 5 days out of the week, 6 hours, I think, out of the day, being there, learning different things. And then you transition over to a shorter, once they feel like you're capable and willing to be on your own and everything like that, they transition you to a shorter program where it's still 5 days out of the week, but it's just shorter hours. So for me, my therapist actually recommended it to me. She gave me the name and everything like that. I called, and you know, they did like a whole questionnaire thing, trying to understand like what level of care you're gonna need. So you have like PHP, which is what I went through. And then you have residential, which is it's even more severe. You're actually in a building and you can't pretty much leave. Like you have your own room and everything like that. Now, there's a couple people that was in the program that did that. But my thing is, I feel like a lot of people don't really know what's out there until you end up in a place to get the help that is needed, or somebody you just come across recommends it, or, says something about it. Like, I could be a vessel now and say like, hey, if you're going through this, I will recommend XYZ. And that'll be my way of saying like, I help somebody to get what they need from the depression. So
what was the program named again? You said post-hospitalization.
So the name of the place is called Pasadena Villa. And they offer PHP, which is partial hospitalization program. And then I forgot when you drop down, I forgot what it's called, but it's like the PHP is 5 weeks, and then the next level down is like 3 weeks. So you'll end up being in there for about 8 weeks if it's like a severe type of thing. In my case, being that I've had suicidal thoughts, it was a severe case. They don't play with that at all. But if it's more so like you just dealing with a tough time, like a person that's going through a divorce or something, they just need that extra care, then you probably wouldn't even be in there that long. Or if you, I don't know, dealing with a death in the family and you just don't know how to cope, you probably wouldn't be in there that long either. But they do take like the suicidal thoughts and stuff a little bit more on the severe side, yeah.
So have you ever been hospitalized as far as in the institution? No? Okay.
No. I don't think, well, never say never, but I think I got what I needed out of where I was at. So being that I know and I'm more aware of a lot of things within myself, I don't see myself going back down that path. However, I will say I will have bad days. I'm not going to sit up here and act like, oh, I'm healed. I'm good. No, there's still going to be some things along the way that still, you're going to have to go through. But now it's like I have the tools. I have the things along the way that I can kind of use to the best of my ability to say, okay, this does not feel right. I don't like this. Let me reevaluate. Let me think of some things. Let me get myself together. I got the tools now that I can fully understand what it is that I'm feeling, so I can move forward without me going down a deep depression like that. So.
Okay. Well, so we're gonna close up. So thanks. Hold on. Oh,
I want to touch on anxiety, because we were talking about so much
now
depression.
I have to cut some stuff out. We go ahead. I can edit it though.
So I know you talked a lot about. I know you spoke a lot about depression, anxiety. We're gonna get on anxiety now. How do you deal with your anxiety?
Sour candy. It works. No, so that's part of the medication that I do take. Not saying that I don't have anxiety, it just helps. Anxiety is just, there's a lot of things that can trigger it. It's not a, like, I remember I literally was at work, did absolutely nothing. Heart rate beating out of my chest, and I'm literally like why am I feeling like this? Nothing's wrong, So I did the method that I learned from my program. I told one of my coworkers, I said, give me a bag of ice. Give me a bag of ice. I laid on the floor, hold the bag of ice in my arms, and I just breathed. And it literally started to calm down after a while. But anxiety is like your body saying that there is a threat, even though there might not be. You've probably been in like fight and flight for so long, and you're trying to get back to a safe space, but because you've been in it so long, your body doesn't know that yet. So it's like once you train yourself to like understand like you're in a safe space, you don't have to get all worked up, then you'll start to kind of like rebalance yourself out a little bit. But there has been times where it does come out at like the most odd times. I remember I came home from work, got home, laid down, and my dog kept like putting his nose on my chest. At this point, nothing was wrong. Then that's when I started to I didn't feel right after he did that. And I'm like, okay, something don't feel right. Next thing you know, my like body just like went into like a crazy episode, basically. And my dog just kept like whining and kind of like nudging at my chest. And so I was trying to use what I used at the program, like get up, walk around, get my mind off of, try to breathe, and like nothing was working. I got to a point where I drove myself to the hospital. I was speeding the whole way there. I put my emergency lights on just in case if there's a cop on the way, at least if it's an emergency, so he'll know, and we'll just figure out whatever when we get to the hospital. But right now, I got an emergency. I got to the hospital, and my heart rate was over 200.
Wow.
And that was probably like one of the worst experiences that I've had because I could not breathe. I've had another one where like I felt like I was about to have a heart attack. This whole side of my body went numb. And they say like I think it's the left side, where if the left side feels, that's a sign of a heart attack. So I'm like, I ain't about to take no chances. We about to go ahead and go to the hospital, you know. But it's like anxiety is just this way of saying like there's a threat here. You're not safe. And it's almost like you have to reprogram yourself to understand that where you're going or wherever you decide to like, you know, vamper out or whatever space you're in, you are safe. So it's kind of like reprogramming your mind to understand that you are in a safe environment. But that can come from being in fight and flight for so long and being hyper vigilant on certain things that you would never even be focused on. And I've gotten to that point where I would be scanning a room, trying to figure out like, you know, who's bad or who am I able to talk to, or, you know, like I would really be doing that. And I never noticed that I was doing that until like, you know, you have to sit with yourself sometimes. But anxiety is like one of those things that can really take a toll on you because you want to do so much and you want to be able to enjoy life without being hyper vigilant all the time. You want to be able to like go places without having to scan a room and see if there's a threat there. Like you want to just be able to just be free. And I used to call myself a free-spirited person, and now I'm like, am I really that right now? Because I should have gotten fight or flight as a tattoo instead of free-spirited. Maybe the opposite would have happened or something. I don't know. But, you know, anxiety is, it's hell. Yeah. It definitely can take a toll, especially if you're going to sleep with anxiety. You wake up in the middle of the night with anxiety. You wake up with anxiety. You're like your heart is just like constantly beating. You're never able to sleep. You're never able to like, you don't eat. You just, and then having that tied into depression too, it's like, that's a imbalance within itself. Like you just going downhill at that point. Like it's inevitable until you really get the help that is needed. So you know, I still have anxiety, but it's not as severe. It's more so like my body is trying to figure out what's safe and what's not safe. And I try to demonstrate like breathing techniques, or now that I got my cup, I can just grab some ice out of it and hold it on, like in my hands or on my wrist or something. You know, because cold temperatures helps with bringing yourself down.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Sour candy, actually, even though I was kind of playing, but it actually is a thing that help with anxiety as well, because your body is more focused on the sour. Like I would eat like the warheads, I think the real sour. I would eat those, and it does kind of help a little bit, because your body is going to be more focused on the shock of the sour candy versus what's going on inside of your body. Because when I was in the program, they had a lot of sour candy, and I asked them, I said, I don't mean to sound ignorant, I know you guys have candy out here for us, but why? And why is there a lot of it? And then she told me, and then I was like, oh, okay. Well, no wonder why I eat Sour Patch Kids all the time. Like, you know, but yeah, there is some correlation there with sour candy, the temperatures, the breathing techniques. And I will say that one size doesn't fit all. So what may help me may not help the next person. You just have to find the thing that's going to work for you. So, you know, I think for the most part, the ice, the sour candy, and the breathing a little bit, using all three of those usually does the trick for me. So,
do you think your pets help you with your anxiety when you're home alone, whatever? 'Cause it's crazy, because I do believe, you know, your pets, you know, they do connect with you, and they, of course, they sense everything else. So with that on that said, do they help you also with your anxiety or whatever? Just being around, you know, I like dogs and cats, but I like cats, little more cats, chill cats. They'll come up to you, you know, just cuddle up with you, you can pet them, whatever. But do you think that they help with your anxiety, depression also?
I think my dog got anxiety. I think I gave my dog anxiety. Like we're each other's helpers at this point. I will say, if it wasn't for my dog that night, for already knowing what was going to happen before it happened, I think that helped a lot. And I think he can kind of feel when I'm not having a good day. And that's the time where he's like the most affectionate, or he's the most want to be all up under me and everything like that. Then I have my cats. One of them, he'll just come up to me and cuddle up under me and just go to sleep. And I'm just like, oh, he's so sweet. Like, you know. So I do think when you are connected with your animal, and there's people that got monkeys, that got, you know, all kinds of stuff. So it doesn't matter what kind of animal you got, but when you're connected with your animal, they can kind of, I feel like certain animals can pick up on certain things, especially if they've been around you long enough to know. They can sense certain things. And I know there is a study that certain dogs can sense certain things, or you have like service dogs that can sense when a person's about to have a seizure or episode or something like that. So I think in my case, my dog sensed that I was about to have an anxiety attack. And like I said, I didn't think nothing of it. I just came home and, you know, he was acting funny towards me. I'm like, what's wrong with you? And the whole time was something wrong with me. So I was like, okay. But I do think animals can pick up on it. I do think they can actually help if you train them in a way that ties into whatever you need help with. I know like there's military people who have dogs that help with PTSD, and they'll literally lay on top of them to help them cope. What else? But I just know like there's I feel like we don't deserve animals sometimes. Like, we really don't. Like, they are definitely a gift, you know.
They are.
And that's one thing I could say that sometimes we take for granted too. Like, dogs and cats and whatever other animals there is, like, they play their part when it comes down
really
to
do.
certain things. So
They really do. They really do. And stuff.
I'm done.
Yeah, because that's it. That's it. Okay, so now this time
it's a wrap.
it's really a wrap. One camera done went dead. I'm scared this one's going to dead in a few minutes. But no, this is a serious conversation that needs to be had and everything. And hopefully this episode right here will help others out as well. But like I said, I do appreciate you for the third time. I do appreciate
No problem,
you
no
coming
problem.
through. Coming all the way down here to share your stories and what helps you and what you've been through. Again, I just hope that anybody that's watching this episode, it can convince them to get help and let them know that they're not alone. So, they have so many resources and everything out there. So again, this is Speak On It, where we speak on different topics of life. Depression, anxiety was tonight's. So all those that are watching, please share, like, comment, subscribe, and continue to watch. And Miss Danny, I thank you again. If you ever want to come back on, please do. I really enjoyed you and everything. And this will conclude tonight's episode of Speak On It. It's a wrap.